We're talking about Republicans and extremists. We're going to pick up some phone calls for both of us. Clip number one, Shano. Bernie Sanders had something to say about extremism. Here's was this his Portland speech or? This is his Madison, Wisconsin speech. Okay, but they're basically strikes the same points in most of them. Here he is.
Let me just say a few words to my friends in the Republican Party about extremism. When you deny the right of workers to come together in collective bargaining, that's extremism. When you tell a woman that she cannot control her own body, that's extremism. When you think a woman is a child and can't purchase a contraceptive, that is extremism. When you give tax breaks to billionaires and refuse to raise the minimum wage, that's extremism.
So, Republicans are the extremists.
Oh, you want me to? Okay.
Yeah, you're telling me Republicans are wonderful, and I'm telling you, Republicans.
Wait a second.
Republicans are here for the billionaires, and that's it.
There's always going to be problems in each party, but Republicans are working towards being inclusive. When you're talking about legislation that is dropping on the floor, you mean
all this stuff to prevent people from voting?
Black lives that matter.
Yeah.
I think that you're seeing a total difference there. When you got the Democratic Party, and we talked about this in the Rockefeller Republican piece earlier, when they're talking about systematic racism, which existed in Dodd-Frank, because
Dodd-Frank,
if we're going to talk about it, institutional racism, that piece of legislation contained institutional racism.
Dodd-Frank regulates the banks.
Let me tell you why. So, black people in general, before Dodd-Frank came out, they got most of their loans from community banks. You're talking about mortgages.
Community banks are being put out of business all over the country.
You're talking about mortgages. You're talking about small business loans. You're talking about personal loans. When the federal government strengthened under Dodd-Frank, provided more regulations, and they counted in these local community banks that don't have the same level of capital as a Chase and a Bank of America, it disenfranchised African Americans from being able to get loans, which was the primary source of where African Americans got their loans from.
I'm sorry.
So now Dodd-Frank is a tool for institutional racism, sir.
Oh, geez.
Institutional racism. So
you're saying
that
a piece of legislation that requires banks to be solvent,
pushed by Democrats,
a piece of legislation pushed by Democrats that requires banks to be solvent, is bad for black people.
We're talking about them applying the same rules to community banks that exist for
and community banks
Chase,
are doing just fine. Thank
Bank
you very
of America,
much.
and all. No, they're not doing just fine. You know how many black folks own community banks that have been put out of business thanks to Dodd-Frank? A lot.
I don't.
A lot.
Okay, I'll have to. I can't debate that.
Institutional racism, Tom. Democrats keep pushing it. I don't know why they won't stop.
In Kansas, they want to limit ATM withdrawals to $25 a day. In Montana and Iowa, Republicans pushed through legislation saying that if you didn't pay your student loan payment, you lose your driver's license. Now, this is more class than race. This is the Republican war on the poor. Yeah. In Arkansas, they arrest and prosecute people for missing rent payments, using the poor as ATMs. We saw this in Ferguson. Taking millions of dollars out of communities basically because you got a tail light out.
Oh, with Dodd-Frank? Yeah, I agree. Taking millions of dollars out
the return of debt of
black communities
and voter ID requirements to suppress poor people's votes. It's pretty straightforward stuff.
So with the ATMs and all this stuff, I would have to get it down into the details of it. As you know, I'm a federal lobbyist, but I've been a state lobbyist too. So we can talk about these issues, but you're in the media. You've been in the media for a number of years. I'm very new to the field, but I know a lot of times we'll say things and they're sound bites. They sound good. They get people tensed up until you look in the details.
Dodd-Frank is racist legislation.
Institutional racism, Tom. I just gave you a clear-cut picture. Most African Americans got their mortgages, got their small business loans and personal loans from community banks. Right. Dodd-Frank applied the same rules that were really used for
here's the
Bank
problem
of America,
with
Chase, and all these mega banks that have billions of dollars in assets. They're going to apply to a bank that has $3 billion.
You've already said that 3 times.
Yeah.
Number one, I need to learn more about it.
Okay.
I can't debate that.
I'll get you some good information.
Number two, what I can tell you.
Okay.
What are you lobbying for the banks? Serious question. Did you get these talking points from Goldman Sachs?
I don't do
Okay, cool. Number two, you realize most of what Dodd-Frank allows has not actually been enacted because the Republicans have refused.
This has.
Okay, well, the Republicans could have blocked that. I mean, very easily. They blocked most of the other provisions of Dodd-Frank. You know, Dodd-Frank provided a framework, and it said now the executive branch has to say, okay, we're going to do A, B, C, and D, and here's the budget. And they keep saying it, and Congress keeps saying, no, we're not going to give you any budget for it. So, you know,
the most draconian impact to African Americans have been implemented. So they ensured that Black Americans, you know, they're getting crushed under Dodd-Frank. So they're